All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Medley number 228. Mm. Little dense today. All right. I'm gonna do the medley at the top of the stream instead of somewhere in the middle, like I typically do. I'm gonna be starting with Spring Street. Says harmonica too. It sounds inherently goofy to me, or goofier, the harmonica 2 versus the harmonica 1. Hello, Crow. Oh. Whoa. You fell out of it, Crow? Welcome back, Josh. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. I think we all kind of wish it was over. Cyber, I feel you on that. I feel the same exact way. Wow. I mean, even sometimes in the production streams, I feel like I'm spinning wheels to get things done, but I don't feel particularly like I don't feel the fire. Yeah, right? Right? I feel you, Cyber. So many stray cats in this neighborhood. would say a big thing, or a big realization for me, Cyber, and Grow, was I guess I maybe underestimated, and I knew the importance of it, but I definitely underestimated the importance of the outside world when it came to writing music. Like, I knew that I had been inspired by things outside, but I didn't know exactly how my writing process was going to change when I no longer was like experiencing things physically out in the world. And it is pretty vital. Like, I can make music kind of like forever, but that feeling, the feeling of excitement that I get in expression in music, usually comes from uh, translating some feeling or emotion into music. And if I haven't gotten any new emotions or new feelings, it becomes very clear when I try to write stuff. Whoa. And so I feel like when the quarantine first started, that was kind of a new emotion, right? The emotion was quarantine. And so the quarantines were popping because I had this like new weird feeling, this new situation I was put in, and there was a lot of inspiration there. But just like any well of inspiration, it runs dry after a while, and now I need some type of change. If I were touring nonstop, eventually I would need to settle down someplace in order to find inspiration from like stability. I think just the consistency, the repetition, the Groundhog Day nature of it all has been kind of mind numbing, and I mean that in a very genuine sense, not necessarily the kind of rote way that people use it a lot. Like the mind does kind of grow numb to certain things, just less sensitive. Things are not as funny. Things are not as upsetting. I feel like now I look at something on the news, it's talking about the forest fires or it's talking about the election or something like that. Things just aren't as upsetting as they were, at the top of the quarantine. Hmm. Anywho, I hear you on that, Cyber. Hi, Jaime. Oh, I like that chord progression. I don't know where that came from, but well, can I play that anywhere else? No, it doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't work. There's a better way to get there, but I do like that last chord. Um, yeah, in Arizona, cyber. Why would happen? Something happened at. Oh, please don't tell me something happened at Tech Nine. That'll bum me out. Close, so close. Oh, yeah. This beard is pretty wild. Different sound, but I do like these chords. This might be something. Yeah, we can build into it that way. Yeah, there. Hmm. He used to do the face paint thing. That was always wild to me. Ah, face paint. Hey, what's up, Alpha? How you doing? So, maybe that's how I get down there. I gotta figure out what the heck I'm doing. Theoretically, I suppose. What was that sound? Hmm. Uh-oh. It's weird. I smell fire and smoke, but the sky seems okay today. Infinity Train is the best. I appreciate this review. I have not seen Infinity Train, um, but I have been recommended Infinity Train a lot. And I remember when Infinity Train, before it got picked up, when it just had that one video, right? When it was trying to get picked up for a whole season. And I did like what I saw back then, but I never ended up actually going through with watching the show. It is hard to get me to watch a show. It takes it takes a village and a lot of luck and a lot of free time to get me to pick up a new show. But maybe I will watch Infinity Train. Um, I still haven't watched it or Over the Garden Wall. I have also not seen Over the Garden Wall, Jaime. I watched Gravity Falls. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I haven't seen Over the Garden Wall. Whoa. But I have seen Gravity Falls. And they were recommended to me by the same person. And Gravity Falls is very good, so I would just assume Over the Garden Wall is also very good. Um, I know the second season says Alpha. Mm. Mm. Word, Alpha. Word. I believe you. You can finish a season in less than an hour and a half. Whoa, that's wow. I love that. I like that a lot. That wow, that is like made for me. Okay, okay, that's a good sell, Alpha. That's a very good sell. Do you do virtual parties? Says Coop. I mean, if you count the pizza party, not really. I do. I do the pizza parties, which is like where everybody from the stream, watches a movie. We all watch a movie together on the internet. But I don't know exactly what you mean by virtual parties. That's what I do. That's what we do here. Hey, what's up, Kit? How are things? Um, are things safe? Are things good? How's your back? No, that's wrong. Ew. There it is. I mean, like virtual gigs. Oh, you mean like URL shows? Um, I have in the past. I do not want to do them now, but yeah. I mean that used to. I if you're gonna be in the streams, if you're gonna start being in the streams regularly now, I do want to learn how to pronounce your name. Is it Sokana? That's my first attempt. I need confirmation. Okay, Sokana. So technically, Cyber is right. This is a virtual gig. I do this every day. So I mean, if you're just asking me if I perform music online, um, hello, this is it. But if you're asking me if I play like Minecraft shows or something like that, not really anymore. There used to be something called SPF 420 like a pretty long time ago. I mean, a long time ago in relation to URL shows happening at all, and I used to do those like a long time ago, like 2013, 2014. And the reason I did those is because I couldn't get an actual show. I couldn't get like real shows. No offense to the people that are playing URL shows. I know they are also real, but I couldn't get any like flesh and blood actual at a venue shows, and so I did those while I built a fan base. And then once I was able to play real or IRL shows, I stopped playing um, URL shows as much, and um, playing them again feels like something that is to me it feels like a step backwards. Again, no offense to anybody playing them, it feels like a step backwards for me, and it also feels like a thing that people are only doing out of necessity because of quarantine. Because a lot of the people that are running and throwing URL shows and playing them now are people that didn't really care too much about it before this year. So I just don't want to I don't want to play them. I don't really want to. But they're cool. They are cool, and I mean, most of my friends. Well, that's a lie. Some of my friends that I have now or from shows like that. I'm not really counting that one. I mean, I know that there's an SPF 420 technically this year. It wasn't really though. Yeah. The 2020 SPF 420 was more of like a romp of nostalgia, I would say. It was like like it was like going to an 80s party and everybody dresses like the 80s and everybody listens to 80s music, but it's not the 80s. It's 2012. It's not 1985. But that's what that was. Um, but that's cool. I'm glad that was that the only one that you had. It doesn't matter if that was the only one that you saw and you enjoyed it. I'm glad you did. Um, Bowen played it. I like that. I like that man a lot. Oh, here we go. Mm. Okay. I'm getting off roads a little bit and going back to piano, even though that used to be like my whole thing, just road sound on this keyboard all the time. This song is called Flight Plan. Is it Moika Loop? Hello. I'm so sorry, guys. My brain's all over the place this morning. Huh. Thanks, Moika. Thanks, Cyber. What songs were you listening to, Moika? I would like to do a show in South Africa too. doesn't love Los Angeles, right? But I do sometimes wish that I could wear sweaters just a little bit longer out of the year. I kind of only get a good 2 months, maybe if I'm pushing it 3 months, of sweater weather here in Los Angeles. If I want to do my whole layering thing, I guess I could wear a sweater with nothing under it on the cooler days, but I wish I lived someplace where I can really get all my hoodies and my jackets and my sweaters and stuff like that into regular rotation. Fire does not love Los Angeles. Neither does water, honestly. Remember the drought? Yeah, good times. Sweater and a collared shirt. Did I just hear a blues riff says Flame? Whoa. Hey Flame, I haven't seen you in a minute. How have you been? Yo, the parrots are going wild. Would you score a short film or movies if you were looking for something your style? I mean, yeah, sure. I've already scored a short film. It was a student film for somebody that went to USC, and I'm currently scoring a different project. Yeah, I mean, work's work, right? So kind of absolutely. What's Shu Homni? Is it Shu H Omni? What is that? I actually have to look it up. So I don't remember what the name of the student film was. I think I would, right? But this was 2016? 16, 17? I don't even remember what year it was. Jesus Christ. This technically Flame, that song is from an animation. Or it's... Oh. It's a project that I'm working on right now. It's definitely not in animation, but it's a score for a thing. It's a score of a thing. So, yeah. That is going to be in something. Catching up on chat. Oh, that'd be fun. Malika. Crow is a challenge for me. Name all your waltz timing songs and play a little part from each one. I don't have that many, so it won't actually be that much of a challenge, Crow. One is the original timing for Love Letters, right? I'll get to the waltz bit. That song. This is Love Letters. It's off of Signals, and it has waltz timing. Another waltz song I have is Over and Under. It's not recorded. It's not recorded, but Liminality. There it is. Yeah. That's that's three. What's another Wolfstein signature song I have? Cold bananas are not good, says Star. Oh, that reminds me. My mom keeps putting them in the fridge. They'll last longer, but that's not how bananas work. Sure isn't. Sure isn't. Hello, Erwin. Thank you for making it to the live stream. I do appreciate you for making the time. Erwin. This song is untitled, but I'm working on it still in the stream. Oh, I guess. Well, is that a waltz? I can count this song. Maybe. Crow? It's weird because whenever I think of waltz, I think of this. But I do have some songs that are. There's like this weird space there. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's not waltz. That's not waltz. Never mind. I see what I'm doing. Because I technically could play Beneath the City that way too. There you go, like. But it's not a waltz. Mush the gunk. Up so easy, says Crow about cold bananas. Yes, it's frozen. It's better for smoothies, says Crow, which is what's in my smoothie, says me. Know some jazz? Hmm. Let me scroll up, says Crow. Why? What's up there? Erwin. I do only play originals. So, right, if I played Love Letters, or if I played like Winter Heart, I could see how somebody could listen to Winter Heart. If somebody listened to this, I feel like if I play jazz, people will usually go, no, 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 no. I mean other people's jazz. So if you're asking if I play covers or if I know any covers, I'm gonna say no. I don't really play covers. But if you're asking me if I just play jazzy type music or music that would be qualified as jazz under like a genre tab, I mean I do have a jazz EP, and I play music from that sometimes in the streams. Sometimes it loses its effect without the ensemble, because usually for the songs, like even for that song that I was playing for Winterheart, there is a like an upright bass and drums in it that like help give it that jazz feel a little bit more. Same thing for Love Letters. I'm gonna play the 5/4 version. I think I think I'm gonna make a new song, Cyber, that is just 5/4 from the beginning. Like it's not one of my songs being played in 5/4. It is just a 5/4 song. Erwin says, "How do you play so cleanly? I've been trying to learn countdown on keys, and it's been killing." Okay, so there's that's like a twofold question. How do I play so cleanly? I got, I would say practice, right? Just playing a lot because I don't always play very cleanly. I would say that that version of 5/4 Love Letters was sloppy as all heck, but it was fun. But I think that it's easy to play something cleanly if you made it, right, Erwin? It's really easy to make a recipe work when you are the originator of that recipe. Um, it's really easy to make clothes fit if they're tailored to you. Like you were there, you did all the measurements. It's a little bit harder to make clothes fit that were made for somebody else or by somebody else. It's a lot harder to nail a recipe and master it when it was somebody else who made it. The reason I can play these songs cleanly is because they're my songs, you know, like uh, they came out of me. And so I was with them every step of the way. It wasn't like I encountered a completely finished piece of work and then had to not only learn it, but then play it cleanly. I gradually made it note by note. And so the cleanliness or the clarity came with that process. Now, if I was trying to learn Countdown, or I was trying to learn Giant Steps, or I was trying to learn, um, Blue Rondo a la Turk, since that was a song I talked about earlier in the stream, maybe my playing wouldn't be so clean, right? But it's a very important thing to bring up. It's not like I'm just some amazing piano player. It's more so that these pieces are my works. I'm really good at cooking the things that I have made. Like, I made this sandwich. I came up with a recipe for this fried chicken, so it tastes like mine every time. But if I had to, dabble on somebody else's stuff, probably wouldn't be so confident and quick on my feet. Flame Venture asks if I can do impressions. I cannot. Is Love Letters Waltz part where you do your Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, etc.? No, but I can see why you would think that. The waltz part? Well, this is 5/4 now. Sorry. No, the when I named the Platforms Crow, that is from my song Chaser. If you've heard my song Chaser. That's where those chords come from. But I almost never play Chaser in the stream until the very end, so I can understand the confusion. Are you signed to any labels or are you independent? I'm independent, so Kana. You didn't miss anything, Cyber. You didn't miss anything. I think Jumping Jaybird probably needs a third phase. I need to add a third phase to that song. Where did you head to college? Did you head there for music composition or something? I dropped out of college right after my freshman year, and I was just taking basic courses. I actually didn't take any like music courses when I was in college. I took an art history course, which was actually pretty cool. I would say that that's the one class that I remember anything from. I don't remember anything from my calculus class. I don't remember. I don't even remember other classes have. Oh my god. I really did not like college. I will say I slept through college, and not physically. Like I wasn't sleeping in my classes. Those classes cost money. I aced my classes. I just didn't retain anything except for art history. But I did take oh my god, how have I forgotten everything? I'm pretty sure I took a science class. I know I took calculus because I remember a man that was in my calculus class that was so cool. He was in his 30s, like his older 30s, and he just cared so much. Anyways, wow, I'm getting distracted. No, I didn't take music composition in college. Um, I went to college, Irwin, just because everybody else that was graduating high school was going to college, and I felt like a loser and left out and like a bum if I didn't go. But I didn't actually know what I wanted to do with my life, and um, I was doing music on the side. I was like in a band, but I didn't take any music courses. Eventually, my band started touring, like going on tour, and I was like actually getting money. And I don't know exactly where you are in life, Erwin, but I can tell you for a 19-year-old Omni going out and playing, because I was playing bass and guitar at the time, going out and playing like bass guitar and guitar on the road, and somebody handing me like 75 or like $150 like at the end of the night was like, oh, you're never gonna get me to listen to anybody ever again. I thought I was like Prince at that point. I was just like, oh, I'm never listening in any of these classes anymore. Sophomore year in college, good luck. Any jobs that I had, I became like a little brat after that, like where I just didn't care about anything. I was like, yo, as much as you guys pay me in a day, I make in like 35 minutes during my passion project, my career. I turned into like a little idiot for, I would say like 6 months. And during that 6 months, I dropped out of college. But no, I I didn't learn any music stuff in college. No, that's not true. It just wasn't from college. While I was in college, I learned a lot about music and performing for sure. I just never thought about. I have this very, very vivid memory. Hey, what's up, Liana? I have this very vivid memory, Erwin and everybody. I don't know if you guys know the band Digitalism. The band Digitalism. Oh, this is fun. There's a band named Digitalism, and they have this song called Pogo, which was like their big song. Which I realize now, we should not say Pogo in the stream, but this is different. There's a band called Digitalism that has a song called Pogo. And I remember sitting in like the library of my college, looking at somebody like, oh, it's so vivid. Like watching somebody copy off of my calculus homework, because I would just do. I mean, I was doing my work, but other people, if they wanted to copy off of me, I would just charge them $5. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I should have charged more. But I remember like leaning back and like had my headphones in. I was like listening to Pogo by Digitalism while people were copying my calculus homework, and I was just thinking like, oh, I can't wait to drop out of college. Like that's one of my most vivid memories of college. That and Wendy's. Never mind. That's one of my most vivid memories of college. I'm about to graduate, and all I want to do is play music, but I don't know how I can make a living off of it. How'd you do it? Erwin. This answer is going to take up the rest of the stream. Cyber, cancel the rest of the stream's questions. Cancel my 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Erwin, honestly, I'm going to give you a very honest and hopefully helpful and inspiring answer. Short answer is I have no idea. When you say how'd you do it, I don't know. A mixture of a lot of things, right? A mixture of timing, a mixture of luck. The way I did it is not the way that you're going to be able to do it, Erwin. It's just not possible anymore for the same path that I took. But just for the sake of answering the question, I'm going to tell you what happened. So, oh man. So fresh out of college. Well, while I was in college, I was in a few bands. It was one band, and then that turned into another one. This band broke up. I joined this one. I started a new one. I was in a lot of different bands, roughly 5 or 6, and I was seeing increasing levels of success with each band, right? Where it's like, I'm in my first band, we're playing at the Coffee Bean, not so great. I'm in my second band, we're playing at the Clubhouse, kind of dope. I'm in the third band, we're playing at the Marquee. Now I'm getting paid for shows. I'm getting another band, we're touring. But again, at the end of the night, getting 50, $75, $150 sounds cool for like an hour roughly of work, but it's like I'm not playing every night, so that money's being spread out a lot. It's not like I can pay rent with it, so it wasn't viable. I still had a job the whole time. I always had several jobs. That's a beautiful chord. I'm gonna have to remember that one for later. Yeah, I like that. Anyways, I ended up leaving college and focusing on just music and school. Music and work. So I would work a full-time job, and then on my time off, I would work on my music and try to book shows for my band. I was still doing the band thing. was going okay. Everything was getting bigger. It's like, oh, we get to shoot our first music video. It always felt like I was on the rise, like I was going up. And then SoundCloud happened, and I also had something called Fruity Loops, or when like my bands would play, but then on my own time, I would make like chiptune music, which was like little Game Boy video game sounding stuff. Mostly a passion project for me. Nobody really wanted to hear this music, or at least that's what I thought. Then SoundCloud happened. I joined SoundCloud like everybody else did that had a computer and, two notes to rub together. I joined and started uploading chiptune songs. I was able to see that there was a bigger scene or community for electronic music. So all the music that I was making kind of just in my bedroom for fun, I started saying like, oh, there's people doing this. There's like a big crowd and community for this. So I started spending more time with that internet online community. And it happened to be like right place, right time, where SoundCloud eventually became kind of this big outlet for musicians. Like a lot of people that were big or busy or respected on SoundCloud suddenly started getting like real shows, like getting bookings for South by Southwest, being able to play festivals, being able to just play local gigs. I moved out to LA and I was like, let's do this. So I started being a little bit even more serious about my music career. I started going to shows, networking, meeting other SoundCloud people, because all of a sudden it was like, you could meet other producers pretty easily, right? Like you on Twitter tweet at a producer that has like 200, 500 followers, and now you have a friend. It was real easy back then. And that combined with just, I would say, the boom of SoundCloud helped me. It didn't help everybody, but if you were like tenacious and hard worker, I guess, you had like pretty good work ethics, you could like make it work. And suddenly people were hiring from SoundCloud. Think of it almost like, you know how, Erwin, there used to be like proper avenues to go through if you wanted to be a comedian, right? Especially like a comedic actor. Maybe you had to go join Groundlings, if you know what that is, or you had to go join like Upright Citizens Brigade or Second City. These are all like comedy academies, basically. Like you can join these like improv academies or these comedy places, or you can like go to the Comedy Cellar. You can go to a lot of these like kind of divey comedy clubs and try to get your start there. There was like an avenue to go through if you wanted to be on SNL or be in the new like comedy sitcom or be like a Kevin Hart. You kind of had to go through these specific avenues. The same thing was true, Erwin, with musicians. A lot of musicians, if they wanted gigs in the industry, or they just wanted to get booked, you needed, a label or a manager, or you went to a music school, because if you graduated from Berkeley, you were also graduating with a lot of connections, and you were graduating with a fancy piece of paper that can open some doors. There is this kind of shift that happened in music and in a lot of industries, right? There's a lot of people that work at like high-level tech companies that actually don't have a degree in anything. They just know how to code because they taught themselves, and now they have a job getting paid more than I get paid for sure at Google or at Facebook. This was happening with music. Suddenly people were hiring producers or composers from SoundCloud or just from the internet because they had done a cool thing on the internet that a lot of people saw. And it kind of broke a little bit of like a glass ceiling gatekeeping thing. And so I was part of that flood that came out of SoundCloud, Erwin. And so when you say all you want to do is play music now that you're graduating, and you don't know you can make a living off of it, I will say, Erwin, that there's always a way to make money off of art. Always. You are not going to be able to do it the way I did. You're not going to be able to join SoundCloud in its infancy and then build a community there so that when things finally bubble over, you are kind of like in the line somewhere to get shot out the cannon. You're not going to be able to do it that way, but I would argue that there's maybe even more avenues for you to do that today. There's more opportunity. There's always more opportunity. With more opportunity comes more saturation, for sure, right? SoundCloud did that to all of us. I mean, Twitter did that to all of us. DeviantArt did that to all of visual artists. As soon as there is a new platform where suddenly you can have an opportunity, there's going to be a lot of people. And so I would say that there's a lot of people that, like, literally I, Erwin, didn't know a TikTok musician was a thing until a month ago. I mean, and I didn't even know a YouTube musician was a thing until 5 years ago, which was way after the fact that a YouTube musician existed. It's like there's always a there's always a new way to get in. I would say, Erwin, your best friend is the internet, and with that, um, a balance of taking what you know works and then taking a little something that you're not sure if it will work. That sounds very vague, I know, Erwin, but I think in music and in most industry, there are things that we know works, right? Like, what do we know works, Erwin, in music? Let me narrow it down even more. What do we know works in music on YouTube? Well, lo-fi hip hop seems to be doing really well on YouTube. That that manifests plays, doesn't it? Like people upload a lo-fi hip hop playlist, and that thing will just it like prints plays somehow, like views. It's a view machine. You can make views out of it. And so somebody could say, well, if you want views, just make lo-fi hip hop and then make a playlist out of your songs, and then people will listen to it. They would be right. But if you do what everybody else is doing, even though it gets you in the door, it also buries you in the saturation. So I would say getting in the door, it's like maybe you make a lo-fi hip hop playlist, mixtape, album, or whatever, but maybe you add something that you're not sure if it will work. There always has to be an element of risk um, to kind of get out of the throng, the mass of people. I don't know if any of this is helpful, Erwin, but that's how I did it. There was a lot of things that were working, right? What's something I used to do? Like in 2016, 2017, I used to do a lot of hip hop remixes because people love hip hop. And boy, do they love remixes. So I was like, oh, I can do that. And my edge by making it different was I made videos of myself doing it live. Like I made videos of myself making the beats and songs live, which at the time was pretty rare. Now, if you get on Twitter, that's all of music Twitter. Actually, it's just beat videos. It's really funny. It's like wild how flooded and saturated the beat video market got in just like the past year. Like late 2019, it exploded. And I was doing it like years and years ago, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm not doing anything right now, Erwin. But that's what I'm saying. That's something that was had a big impact. You know, it's huge now. Beat videos. But if you're gonna do a beat video, how can your beat video be different? How can your beat video have a element of risk to it? Maybe you do beat videos. Um, Maybe you do beat videos in weird places. Maybe you make your beats on a mountain. Maybe you make your beats on a rooftop somewhere and the atmosphere, the background looks really cool. Maybe you make your beats blindfolded. Maybe you make everybody is looking for like a gimmick or something to give them some type of edge. And sadly, in the day of like infinite reach where everybody can see everything, you kind of just have to do, you kind of have to do something to make yourself stand out. So, Erwin, I think that you can do this. You're saying that you want to play music. All you want to do is play music, Erwin. And you're saying you just don't know how you can make a living off of it. I would say just pay very close attention, Erwin. There's ways. Um, if there's ever any more specific advice you need as far as music career stuff, I'm here every morning at 9 o'clock, but it's very doable. Don't let anybody make you believe that it's not doable. But also, don't let anybody let you believe that it's going to be easy. Yeah, because it's not easy, but it's super doable. You've done more difficult things in your life, or even the fact that you're saying you just graduated. You're graduating. I don't know exactly what you're graduating. If you're graduating college or high school, but I would say that graduating high school is just as hard, if not harder, for me personally than making money off of music. High school is trash. Okay, this song that I'm getting ready to play is called Witchy Song. Usually I transition into it from a different song, but today I'm trying to work on that third phase to it, so I'm just going to start from the beginning, from the top of Witchy. graduating high school in Japan. Yeah, graduating high school is a nightmare. I would say the amount of perseverance and consistency and strength that one has to employ to graduate the type of high school I went to is a pretty good like indicator of one's ability to survive the music industry. You bring up a pretty good point, Cyber, when talking about like the Zoomers and what their SoundCloud is. I have a really interesting thought about that. I feel like Zoomers, like the real new kids, are more visual than whatever my generation was. I think that they're more visual, and I think that having a platform that is just a play button and a waveform is it might not be enough for them. This could be like old man talk, but I think that the kids that are like looking at like TikToks and they're going to the Minecraft shows and they're looking at things and stuff, I feel like they do need a visual component. And I think that if something like, if TikTok really does leave, right, and we have to do Instagram Reels, I can see whatever the music platform being, I can see it being either a combination of a visual platform or an accessory to a visual platform. Like people being like, check out Instagram music. I can like, I'm not saying that Instagram music is gonna be a thing. I'm just saying I feel like it's so hard to get people to just listen to a song without a visual component, and I think that that's why my beat videos did so well. I think that's why people like The Count and people like Kalen Ellis and people like everybody else making a beat video right now. That's why those beats do so well. The beat's not even really that dope, and I agree. I'm not saying that about them necessarily, but I'm saying that about everybody, right? Like those, like the Bad and Bougie remix, it's not that good. It's decent, but if I didn't have that video, I would bet my entire checkings account right now that that song would not have taken off. It took off because of the video. Kids are just more visual than. I'm not saying that people that aren't kids now aren't visual. I just feel like a platform that is just a web page where you click a play button and listen to a song, I think that's asking a lot of Zoomers. I think that's asking a lot of them. I think they need more stimulation than that. Because I think videos, even the videos that people put up on, you know, platforms used to be a lot chiller, and now they're a little like wild and chaotic, and I think that that's what you need. For example, if you take my normal Twitter beat videos versus the quarantine or the quarantine series, people liked the quarantine series just because there was a lot of stuff happening and it was like funny and there's PNGs floating around and there's text and stuff like that. People like that versus just me chilling in my room hitting the keys. Zoomers need innovative media. I agree with this, Liana. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of bad that people like to say about Zoomers, but I will say that Zoomers have a really weird combination of a really low bar for entertainment and also a very high bar for entertainment, if that makes sense. The intellect that usually goes into the jokes is pretty, and like the entertainment is usually pretty low, but the work that goes into it is oddly high, right? Like, it's a really weird combination. It's the exact opposite of what I would say my music typically was. I feel like my music was like all up here and not necessarily down here. I could do a song in, I could make a song in like an hour, and it would have a lot of intellect thrown into it and knowledge of music creation, but it wouldn't necessarily take a lot of effort for me. And I feel like if there was a Zoomer would be more interested in me taking a cow mooing and like overdriving it and compressing it and like turning it into a bass sound than they would be with me simply playing a bass guitar. And I can tell you, playing a bass guitar is a lot easier than doing post-processing to turn a cow mooing into a bass line. That's how I feel about Zoomers. Today, September 23rd, 2020. That is how I feel about Zoomers and their expectations from media. We need an augmented reality SoundCloud, says Liana. I mean, honestly, yeah, probably. I mean, that's what the kids are probably gonna need. I didn't finish playing with you, by the way. I would say high school was more emotionally draining, but college was more time life draining. Sure, because I would say, Liana, that most people, myself included, were less emotionally invested in college than they were in high school. Because when you're in high school, that is your whole social world. When you're in college, you got like other stuff going on. I hope you got other stuff going on, so you're not as like concerned with so and so class being mean to you because you're like, oh, screw this idiot. I'm not gonna have to see them again after I get out of this class. So I feel that. Um, word. I think weird chord progression. How did you start most of your bands? I can tell you I started every single one of the bands because I didn't start most of them. The first band, I replied to an online bulletin. Um, it wasn't really like an online bulletin. Basically, the band made a post on the internet and they were like, looking for bass players. If you play bass, please um, apply. And I commented on it because I did not actually play bass, but there was a bass guitar that I had. I mean, I had a bass guitar. Let's just say I owned a bass guitar. I didn't even own an amplifier. I remember showing up without an amp, and they were all really confused. Back then, I thought it was like super luck that I ended up getting into that band, but I think might have been the only bass person that applied, or maybe I was just the only person that wanted it that bad. I think I very clearly was thirsty when I showed up. But anyways, I didn't have an amp. I only had a bass guitar. I didn't even have a strap, and I played with a quarter. I didn't even have a guitar pick. Like it wasn't playing bass was not my thing. Playing keyboard was my thing, but they needed a bass guitar player, so um, I went to the audition. They said, sick, here's when practices are. And then I was in that band. That band was called Lyra. Eventually, the lead singer of Lyra moved to Los Angeles. I'm from Arizona, by the way, Erwin. Moved to Los Angeles, breaking up the band. So me and the guitarist from that band started our own band called Capita the Sun. And then Captain of the Sun went on tour with a band called The Crush, and The Crush was going, after that tour ended, The Crush was going on a much longer tour, and they wanted to have keys to, like, because they were touring with bands and they were more of like a singer DJ thing, and they wanted keys, live keyboards, to appear more like a band, like have more stuff happening on stage. So they took me out on that tour. And then I was in The Crush. Once I got back from that tour, I was in both The Crush and Captain of the Sun. The lead singer from Captain of the Sun got married and decided to take a step away from the scene, so now I was in The Crush full time. And I joined another band that needed a keyboard player for a tour, and that happened twice, I guess. I was in another band called Wink. They went on tour, and I played keys in that band. And I was in both The Crush and Wink at the same time. And then I played in a band called Peach Cake because they saw me perform live with Wink, and they said, yo, I really, really like what you do with synthesizers. I have a synth pop band. No pressure, just come by the space and like jam out with us sometime and see what we make. I went there and made music with them, and then ended up joining that band full time as well. So then I was in The Crush, Wink, and Peach Cake. The lead singer from The Crush moved to Los Angeles and broke up the band, so I was just in Wink and Peach Cake. And then I had, I was also working a full-time job while this was happening, so I was really busy, and Peach Cake lived really far away. They lived about a 2-hour drive from where I was, and it eventually became too much, and some other things that I'm not going to get into, and so I ended up leaving Wink and just leaving Peach Cake and just focusing on Wink. And then I started a duo with my friend, and we were producing a duo, just like a producer duo, like Justice or something, because that's what was pretty big at the time. Made some music, played at a place called Bar Smith, and then the DJ that I was opening for wanted to start a duo with me also because I had just produced a lot. And then I joined that, and that was called Two Tone Disco. And then I left Wink and moved to Los Angeles, and other stuff happened. But typically, Irwin, I would say, it was like very kismet. Usually I was just in a space, and somebody was like, hey, you're pretty good at keys. You want to play in our band for this one show, or you want to like jam out? And usually I would jam, things would be cool, and then maybe one thing led to another, then I was suddenly in the band. It was all pretty organic. And that isn't to say, Irwin, that every single band I played in I ended up joining. There was a lot of times where somebody just needed a session musician to like come into the studio and record some keys because they just couldn't play piano, and they were like, we hear piano in this song. Here's the chord progression. Can you just like play keys? And I would record, and they would give me like $100. And sometimes I ended up actually joining the band. They were like, hey, we really like how this sounds. What's your availability? Could we just like hit you up every time we have a show in town? And you don't have to be in any of like the press photos, or your name doesn't need to be on the album or anything, but like we can just throw you some money and you can show up when we have like a big show that we want to have like live piano for. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Yeah, sure. So I just kind of got tossed around a lot like that in Arizona. And it was cool. I definitely learned a lot, Irwin, but I would say I wasn't looking for any of those bands. The only band that I actually wanted and started was Captain of the Sun, when our singer moves to LA and we formed a new band. That's the only one I really wanted. That's a very common thing also, Irwin, in Arizona. Because of Arizona's proximity to Los Angeles, a lot of times once anybody has a little bit of like confidence or ego or charisma or whatever you want to call it, once they feel like they're ready for the next step or they're ready to progress, most people will just move to Los Angeles instead of trying to do anything in Arizona. And so it causes a lot of weirdness in the Arizona scene, the Arizona music scene, where it's like, as soon as people feel like they are successful or they could be successful, usually they leave. So it causes this really weird vacuum, this like vacuum scenario in the scene of Arizona, where it's like, if you're bad, people don't really, if you're perceived as bad, people don't really want to work with you. They're like, oh, so-and-so sucks, this band's not good, their music's trash, they're a pill to work with, they're unreliable, they're late, they're unprofessional. People don't want to work with a bad musician. But then if you're a good musician, people usually also don't want to work with you because they're like, Oh, he's really good. He's probably just gonna like piss off to LA. She's probably gonna just move to LA eventually. Uh, don't worry about them. They're like big time, I guess. We're gonna focus on Arizona acts, people that are gonna be around for a while. And so it is a really weird music scene. It's like you can't be too bad, but if you're too good, it's like why are you here? Might as well move. It's weird. It's weird, Erwin. It's very strange. Um, I tried to be the one that stayed for a long time. I kept having band members that would move to LA, and then eventually I was like, I can't do this. I think this place is stifling me. I understand that that is both a curse and a blessing because being close to LA means that LA was simply a 5-6 hour drive away. I know that's not the case for most people in the country, and if they want to be in a place with a lively music scene, they do need to make some very big life decisions, if they're going to be moving. I think about Wyoming a lot, right? I think about how I've never met a musician from Wyoming, and I've met and played with a lot of musicians, guys. I've never met one from Wyoming. I've never met anybody that was on their way to Wyoming. And I've never heard necessarily of a show of anybody I know existing in Wyoming. A concert happening, a tour date happening. I just do not see it. I don't know what's going on there. And if I was raised in Wyoming and I wanted to be a music producer or whatever, I don't know. I just don't know. I guess I would have had to have moved, made a really big life decision, and somehow moved all the way from Wyoming down here to LA. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Wyoming. You look at it on a map, Irwin. It's very big. It's very large. Lots of surface area. Plenty of geography going on there. I just don't know of any movies, TV shows, bands, video games. I don't know of anything coming out of that state. And I don't know of anything going into that state. Every time I've ever been on tour, we pass over it. I don't know who's there. If you are in Wyoming and you're like, I want to be a DJ, I don't know what that is for you. Must be an uphill climb. So things were rough for me, but just think about the Wyomingans or the Wyomites or whatever they're called. I don't know. Wyoming, huh? Something's going on there. I'm gonna check prices on flights to Wyoming actually. Anyways, this song is called this song. I mean, this is a Liana song. It's called Double Let's, Irwin. Ooh, I'm on a butterfly. That was so nicely timed. It really bothers me how much of college, like how much of the classes I've forgotten. I don't even remember what my course books look like. I don't remember the faces of any of the people that were in my classes, outside of a select few. like Jamaican patties. Uh, my roommate is from the East Coast. Was really sad moving to LA. Said, "Where are the Jamaican patties? Where are the Jamaican patties? I love Jamaican patties. Where are they?" And I said to myself, LA has everything. There is zero way that this city doesn't have dope Jamaican patties. And they said, "Yeah, but where are they? I don't see them. All you guys have is Mexican food." I took a little offense to this, and I said, "I'm gonna find you a Jamaican patty." And in Little Tokyo, there's a little alley. I mean, I guess this is good information for anybody that might be visiting LA. There's in Little Tokyo. There's this weird little alley that's between an Indian place. It's on Second Street, and on the other side of it, there's this building that doesn't actually look like it's a restaurant. Like, it's very small. It's smaller than my bedroom. I mean, as far as width, it's very, very narrow and it's long. And above the door, it just says, "A beautiful life, a beautiful life, a beautiful life," like maybe 5 or 6 times. Um, they sell Jamaican patties there. I took my roommate there yesterday. They love the Jamaican patty, so I felt good. I feel, when somebody asks you where something is, maybe they're a tourist, maybe they're a baby, um, maybe they're an old person, which is just a giant baby, and they ask you where something is, and maybe you're at work, maybe you're on the street. Giving people information, somebody asking me for information, and me having that information feels so good. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that's an innate human thing. I don't know if that's a weird power play thing. I don't know exactly what that is. It could be good, could be bad, but when somebody asks me information and I know, when they say, "Hey, Omni, when's trash day?" and I say, "It's Tuesday," or they say, "Sir, do you know where the Marilyn Monroe Hollywood star is?" and I can tell them exactly where it is, I feel good. I don't like tourists, but I still feel good providing some level of guidance for people. It makes me feel useful. I think that's where it comes from. I just don't want to feel useless in any situation. So providing the Jamaican patty felt good, but it also, I've never made a Jamaican patty, and it made me think about Jamaican patties. Why are they so yellow like that? I think about literally every other culture's like bread, bread with meat inside, right? You think of like pasties from the UK. You think of pupusas from Salvador. You think about empanadas. You think about burritos. There's so many things, right? And they all seem to be like the same color, but Jamaican patties are like a distinctly different color. What is that? Why are they that? Why are they like orange almost instead of like that light flowery color? Anyways, Elvis says, "I remember once a friend told me his girlfriend wanted to try African food in Austin, and I knew and Googled the first food truck I found, and it turned out the guy knew my dad." That's sick. That's awesome. That makes me very happy, Alpha. It's a small bubble in it. They're yellow because all the spice and other ingredients. I think they add seasoning to the flour. I think I knew that, but I'm thinking I don't know what that spice is. What is it? Is it that thing? Is it, what's that thing that, there's an Indian food all the time that I like. And it's supposed to be really good for heart disease, so that's why I eat a bunch of it. I'm black, so I'm afraid of my heart exploding at any moment. I looked in the mirror and realized I was black, and now I live in constant fear of my heart just combusting inside of my chest cavity. And so I put a lot of, oh crap, what's it called? It's a very specific spice. I ate it yesterday. Turmeric, thank you. Turmeric. I've heard turmeric more often. I'm gonna say turmeric. Is there turmeric in a Jamaican patty? Is that why it's orange like that? The ingredient is called allspice. It's like the Allfather. The allspice came down from Asgard. That's actually pretty dope. The allspice. Allspice would be sick if that were like a product, like that came in a bottle. You could dash on things. The allspice. The allspark. Wait, am I getting Thor confused with Transformers? The Allspark? What was the name of the thing in Transformers? That little thing that they were trying to get their hands on. Anyways, the Allspice sounds dope. Jamaicans refer to it as Allspice. That's really sick. Allspark it. I was using turmeric on my face because I was told it evens out your complexion. That is scary. If anybody ever tells me to put a spice on my face, I'm gonna need a lot more. I'm gonna need a lot. I'm gonna need to see. I'm gonna need to watch somebody else do it in real time, not in a YouTube video, before I do that thing. Allspice, also known as Jamaican pepper, myrtle pepper, ooh, pimenta or pimento. I'm gonna say pimento. Pimento is the dried, unripe berry of pimenta, and mid-canopy tree native to the greater Antilles, southern Mexico, and central, I guess Central America maybe. Allspice. It does have turmeric and eggs. Thanks, Liana. Thanks for ruining my spice adventure. No, that's actually really cool, though. I would like to purchase some of this allspice. Can't hurt, right? Anyways, it seems everybody in the stream has had Jamaican patties and understands what I'm talking about, and I feel like I've batted 1,000. Usually when I mention something, there's usually someone in the stream that goes, I haven't seen that, or I haven't eaten that, or what's boba, or something like that. And so I'm glad that we all at least know what I'm talking about here. I might eat another one today. I'm not going to. I need to work today, but... And it's far. Guys, you know how it is living in a big urban city. Crow hasn't had a Jamaican patty, so there goes my streak. Sorry, Crow. Definitely check them out. Where do you live again, Crow? Sorry, I know you've told me like 1,000,000 times. I'm trash. Where do you live again? You weren't the one that lived in the UK. Who is it that lived in the UK that used to come into streams? You live in Florida. Oh, what the heck? Then you definitely could get a Jamaican patty. Never mind. You're like closer to Jamaica than any of us. If you ever get a chance, though, Crow, I recommend it. Unless you're a vegetarian or something like that. As long as you don't have any dietary restrictions, I recommend it. They're very delicious and very simple, too. Yeah, Leanna, you know I am. I hate spoilers. You can get them at the store, says Alpha. They got Jamaicans in the UK and in Florida. For sure, for sure. I don't want a store-bought patty. I want to go into a place where there's a mean man. The dude that sells the Jamaican patties, like, I don't know what his deal is, but he was just like actually mean. I just took it with a smile because, you know, if anybody's ever mean to you and they're giving you food, just take it. Just take it. Don't fight the currents. But anyway, he was being really mean. I don't know what his deal was, but the Jamaican patty was good, so I guess the ends justify the means, yeah. Yeah, try a Jamaican patty if you ever get a chance, Crow. I like them. Also, if you ever get a chance, definitely eat an empanada. Basically, if any culture ever hands you a piece of bread that they say they've somehow managed to get meat inside the bread, just eat it. Just eat it. I have never been disappointed by these contraptions. Pasty, if you ever get a chance to eat a pasty, oh my god. I mean, make sure you're not doing anything for the rest of the day because pasties will put you out, but get a pasty. Oh my god. The entire time that I was in England, I hated all of the food. The only food in England that I liked was Indian food, which really shouldn't count, for being fair. And there is this place called Nando's. And I love Nando's. Oh, wow. Oh, we gotta stop talking about, like, or I gotta stop talking about, like, other countries. I get really sad when I realize I can't go to them, but I miss Nando's. Nando's was good, the Indian food was good, and they took me and got me a pasty, and I was like, okay, I guess England doesn't suck at everything, food-wise. Like, this is pretty dope. Indian food is too spicy for me. I can't handle spice. We're gonna move off of this topic pretty soon, but I will say, Alpha, that I try not to think they got Nando's here on me. I mean, I've had Nando's in DC, but it didn't feel the same. It didn't feel, you know, like at MagFest, there's like a Nando's down the street from the Gaylord Resort, but like, didn't feel good, you know. But do you have? Wait, when you say we have Nando's here, Cyber, are you talking about Georgia? Is there a Nando's in Georgia? Because that'd be sick. I'd be willing to go to a Nando's in Georgia. Like the feeling. Please try tapas. Cuban fried potato balls with beef filling. That sounds dope. I said tapas. You said papas. I know papas means potato, right? I'll try it. I'll try anything. Well, that's not true, but I'll eat starch with meat in the inside. If you give me a starchy bready thing and then there's meat on the inside, I'll eat it. Um, yeah, Liana, if you could give me a place where that is a thing I can eat, I'll go there. Wait, hold on, Liana. We have a Cuban bakery down here called Porto's. They probably actually have that. In fact, I'm almost certain that they do. Some somebody told me that they were filled with beans or cheese or something like that. But I guess you can get different types of filling. I don't know. I'll try it. Crap. What I'll say because Alpha says that Indian food's too spicy for them. I try not to think about spices as levels. I know we have the Scoville chart. Alpha, screw the Scoville chart. Some idiot made it up that doesn't know anything about spice. His taste buds are probably completely fried. Screw that dude. So I try to think about spice in levels. I try to think about spice in colors. And I feel like Indian spice just, it's not even that it's so spicy, it just hits people that aren't from there different. It hits the Western world a little bit different, you know? And I agree. Like, I can go in and get, like, the spiciest thing in a Mexican restaurant and, like, feel great afterwards. I can go and get the spiciest thing in, like, some, like, spicy barbecue place in, like, Texas and feel fine. Indian food, it's a different thing. I feel fine. It's just, do I feel fine? I would say it doesn't bother me anywhere up here. It just hurts my stomach pretty bad, you know? And, like, that's not what I want. But I still eat spicy Indian food. I still do it, just not very regularly. Because there's nowhere to really do that cheaply, at least not here in LA. Indian food's pretty pricey in LA. I'm kind of disappointed that we were both at MagFest potentially multiple times and I never ran into you. Yeah, my times at MagFest, I won't get into it, but my times at MagFest, a lot of people didn't run into me, I'll put it that way. Here's what my typical MagFest romp was like. I would get there, I would go to my hotel room, I would avoid a lot of people, and then I would be babysitting. I had this friend that went by Baby Teeth at the time. I would kind of babysit her the entire time because she was the type of person that needs a babysitter. No offense to Baby Teeth, love you plenty, but you were a handful. She needed a babysitter, and so I was that. And then I would perform, and then what I would typically do is spend most of the day upstairs around the rooms. My room just kind of like chilling, trying to like avoid drunk people. And then late at night, I would go to the arcade and play U-Beat. I would just play U-Beat for like hours. And then, you know, when it was like 4 a.m., I would go back up to my room and then sleep. And I'm kind of like on a nocturnal schedule when I go to MagFest. So most people wouldn't see me. Unless they were also on that weird schedule. Leanna's dad told her that their great-grandpa was friends with the founder of Porto's. That's a really cool story. That's a really cool story for a few reasons. One, because I love Porto's. Two, because you're interesting to me. And two, because a great-grandpa, it sounds wild. Every time somebody says great-grandparent, I always think of like, I think if they're talking like fantasy stuff. I can't think of a great-grandparent. Nothing exists older than my grandparents to me. Like when I told you guys like my grandparent, like my grandma when I moved to LA was like 103. I can't fathom whatever was above her. Like it didn't exist. I feel like she was like running around with Moses and stuff. But that's pretty cool. Great grandma. Yeah, I don't even hear stories about my great grandparents. I have no idea what they were like or what they did or what their names were or anything. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think of spices as different types of spices. Indian spice is pretty rough sometimes. I would say if I had a preference, I really like Korean spicy. And I think that's probably just because it's a more recent thing in my life. Like in the past 4 years, I've gotten more acquainted with Korean spice, and I like it. Japanese spice. Japanese spice doesn't taste like anything to me. I just feel it. It's almost like turning up the thermostat. It's just like, oh, it's heat in my mouth, but it doesn't come with like a distinct flavor. Whatever. It's almost like you just like, you know how like if you want to make spicy chicken, fried chicken, you can just keep adding like cayenne pepper to it, and you can make it spicier. but it doesn't add flavor. It just makes it hot to your tongue. I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. Sorry for your loss, Alpha. Always sad losing a grandma, or at least it was for me. But I think it was more so sad losing my grandma because that was like the only grandparent I had. Like my grandpa died, well, her husband died before I was born, and then my other grandparents on my dad's side died when I was pretty young, before I had really like bonded or made a connection with them. And so I kind of just had that one grandma. So when she died, even though it was like we all saw that coming, right? You're over 100, can't have that much time left. It was still pretty like rough. Cyber says Japanese spices include like horseradish, which works on your nasal receptors more than anything. So I might explain the sensation of heat without tasting much for sure. I'm not a big fan of like wasabi type spice and stuff like that. Whenever I think of Japanese spice, the first thing I always think of is Koko Ichibanya, number 7. Koko Ichibanya, for people that don't know, is a curry restaurant in Japan and Los Angeles that has levels of spice. You can go like 0 to 10, and then there's like secret levels beyond that. But I'm usually pretty comfortable with like level 4. It's like it's got a little bit of a kick. I can do level 5, and it's like, whew, this is like, I'm feeling it. Level 6 is like, I need to start drinking water. And level 7 is like, I'm getting close to not enjoying the meal anymore. I don't even want to know what 10's like. I feel like 10 is just stupid. Um, and it's like, I could probably eat 10 and be fine, but I wouldn't be able to enjoy the meal. I wouldn't taste it. Um, I think that, um, like, you guys think we'll last that long? Oh, Alpha. Honest answer? No, I don't think that I'm going to live into my 90s. And I don't think that for like any specific reasons. I just think that the I'm going specifically off of like statistics. If I'm looking at people from the area I'm from that look the way I do, and combine that with the fact that musicians don't have the dopest track record for longevity, I just I don't know. I don't know about 90 for me. Anyways, if my grandma dies, I'll be so depressed. She's like my second mom. I even called her mommy as a baby. Word up. I'm glad that you have a really close relationship with your grandma, Erwin. Not everybody is so fortunate. I was, though. I was pretty close with my grandma for a little while. There was like, we had like a bell curve where it's like I didn't know her at all, then we were super close, and then when I moved to California, I just didn't see her anymore. I was talking about something. I was gonna say something. The spices. Yeah, I always think of Koko Ichibanya when I think of Japanese spice. I always think of Korean spicy noodles when I think about Korean spice. I always think of specific hot sauces and salsas when I think of like Mexican spice. I think of like a lot of like habaneros and yeah. Anyways, spicy stuff is good. I do feel like I've deadened some of my taste buds or receptors or whatever, because even when I make chicken by myself, Cyber and everybody, I do put a lot of like I marinate this stuff in like pepper juices and chili oil and stuff like that, and then when I put the batter, like the flour and everything on, I have like cayenne pepper in the flour and like Cajun spicing. And so like to me, it just tastes like this is a good chicken sandwich. But I have made my chicken sandwich for other people, and they're like, I kind of wish that you had had the spice just on the side because this is very spicy. And I was like, oh word, I don't even taste it at all. Cyber, I'm gonna say something kind of gross. Um, I'm never eating that pretzel chicken. Oh, sorry, I'm not. I didn't get the chicken when I got the burger. I'm never eating it again. Not because it was gross. It's good, but this is gross. But like, I can't eat beer cheese. If I eat, if I eat what we as society have deemed is beer cheese, I burp beer cheese for the rest of the day. Like I burp and I taste beer cheese. I don't taste beef. I don't taste bacon. I don't taste bread. I don't taste anything else that was on that sandwich except for beer cheese, and it was enough. I think on like the 20th burp, I was like, okay, Wendy's, you did it. You beat me. That's an L for me. I'm never eating this sandwich again. Or if I do, I'm getting it without the beer cheese. That was wild. What a horrible day that was. I think I'm a bit healthier than someone who doesn't work out, but I know the way I stress out towards personal issues really badly. Oh, the heck, beer cheese, that sounds gross, says Alpha. Yeah, it sounds very gross. It isn't, it doesn't taste disgusting. It's like whatever, but I just don't like burping it up as often as I was. As far as being healthy, I think everybody has obviously varying degrees of healthy, Alpha. I think that the fact that I work out and exercise is good. The fact that I have fruit as often as I do and I stay hydrated is good. I do practice a lot of healthy things. I do try to get like somewhat of a well-rounded like diet, but yeah, I mean, I'm not counting calories necessarily, and I'm not like flipping over the box on everything I eat and going like, oh my god, how many trans fats? Like I'm not doing that thing, and I'm definitely not like vegan. So within reason, right? I'm just trying to take care of myself, and I think that in LA, in LA, like the bar seems to be a little bit higher because people try to be healthy. But I think for the average person in the country, both me and you, Alpha, are just miles ahead of most people. So, I mean, if I'm grading on a curve, we're doing all right. But who knows how healthy anybody is, really, right? It's like nacho cheese, I guess, Cyber trying to explain what beer cheese is, but with some kind of curd. It's a lot of dairy, and I'm not surprised Omni had a bad reaction to it. It's like wild what that stuff feels like. And it's not gross. I don't want anybody to think it's gross. It's just weird, it's all. It's just weird. I would not call it cheese. I would, if somebody poured that on a thing, I would be like, oh, that's not cheese. You figured out some way to make like a dairy gravy. It's like milk gravy, Alpha. I don't know if that helps or hurts its gross feel or sound to you, but don't think of it as beer cheese. Think of it as milk gravy. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't like American yellow cheese. It just grosses me out. I'm sorry to hear that, Alpha. Hmm. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say that beer cheese tastes bad. I feel like you can substitute American sliced cheese for anything else. Um, hmm. Yeah, probably. I'm not. This is gonna sound wild, especially for like French blood or whatever. A French blooded American. It's gonna sound loud for me to say this, but like cheese is kind of whatever to me. If somebody said, "Hey, Albany, here's a cheeseburger," and it has Gouda on it, I'll be like, "Oh, okay." Or they're like, "Albany, here's a cheeseburger. It's got Monterey Jack on it." I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, cheddar. I'm like, okay, white cheddar. Like I kind of any regular sliced cheese, I'm fine with. Things like blue cheese, when you get into like the sharper cheeses, then I start to get a little bit more apprehensive. But provolone, yeah, you can kind of put any cheese on a sandwich, and I feel like I'm not going to care that much. Now, if we're talking like a quesadilla, if we're talking Mexican food, or we're talking like Japanese food, then I'll get more particular. But in America, on a sandwich, I really don't care. Pizza, yeah, I would care. Burritos, yeah, I would care. Do you know how to sight read music on keys? Erwin, this is a very good question. Erwin says, I don't have a formal education in music. I actually don't know how to read music at all, um, sight or otherwise. It doesn't come in handy for somebody like me, Erwin. So that's the only reason I haven't learned it. There's a lot of things that I need in order to get the job done. I usually learn things out of function instead of out of seeker of knowledge, which, maybe is something I need to change. But I learned how to mix music because I was a producer and I needed the music to be mixed. So I learned how to mix while I was mixing a song. I haven't learned how to write down music on a staff necessarily because I never need to write my songs down because they live in my head and I make videos of them and I release them. Um, so I've never had to write them down, and I've never had to read music because I only ever perform my own music instead of other people's. So there's no reason for me to really like learn music I didn't make. So I do not know how to sight read. There have been a lot of times, Erwin, especially recently, where I've opened up a book and I've read music theory things, and I've learned the names of some chords, or I've learned the names of some notes, or I've learned the names of some keys or modes or whatever. And the problem that comes into play is it's almost like learning German and then hanging around in LA for a couple of weeks. It's like if you're not using that German you just learned, it's going to deteriorate. It's going to wither and fly away into thin air. I say this all the time about my Japanese and how I took Japanese in high school for several years, got pretty good, didn't use it for a long time. It got pretty bad. Then I went to Japan and was there for a while, and my Japanese came back and increased. And now that I've been back home and not talking to my Japanese friends, it has withered away again. And music theory, since it's not something I employ while I'm making music, even when somebody tells me something or I learn something and it is truly interesting to me, it just falls apart. It disappears over time because I'm not using it to make music. You know, it's just kind of like a cool, trivial bit of knowledge or fun info. Nothing that I actually end up using. Um, Japanese don't really do cheese well. Taiwan barely ever has cheese. My wife never ate it growing up. This is true. Whenever I think about Asian cheese, I think about corn on pizza, and I think about cheese on corn, which is more, I guess, a Korean thing. Having like a bowl of corn with just melted cheese over the top of it and butter. Anybody ever had that? I gotta be honest, I don't like it, but if you put it in front of me and I'm in Korea, I eat it. I eat it partially to be polite, and it's not disgusting, but it is like a. As I'm eating it and looking around at all of like my friends in Korea, I am thinking like, so why are we doing this? Like, why'd you guys do this? Why'd you guys melt cheese on corn? It feels, it's a cultural thing, right? It doesn't feel good to me. Um, I have a feeling if he did a sabbatical with a group of musicians and actively performed and learned with a crew, he'd be the man, says Cybert. Talking about me and traditional ways. And yeah, I mean, I need to be able to use this stuff. Hmm. I thought Japanese loved Italian food. They like pasta and pizza. They do. They do. That's why I talked about corn on pizza. That's nothing's more Italian, baby, than corn on pizza. I think this isn't even necessarily specifically a music thing for me, Erwin. Anything in life. I think most humans are like this, maybe me to an extreme, but I need something to be important for me to care about it, for me to improve it. I need that thing to be important. Um, if I'm learning how to dance, I need to have, like, for example, I took salsa dancing classes, and it was kind of useless without going to a salsa club, so I didn't retain a lot. It wasn't until I started going to salsa clubs, right? Because I was just going, it was every Tuesday and Thursday, every week. Tuesday, salsa classes. Thursday, sometimes was swing dancing. Tuesday, salsa classes. Thursday, swing dancing. And I was learning, but I was also like forgetting. And then on weekends, I started actually going to salsa clubs or when I'm salsa dancing with people. And I was having to implement and incorporate all of the stuff that I was learning in class, and suddenly it started to click and make sense at a different level. Things started to feel more natural to me instead of like rehearsed from a class. The same thing is true with music. A lot of things. Let's say I learned that I can play chords with. The first time I learned that I could play chords with four notes in them, these guys. I started putting them in my songs, and now very few of my songs don't have a bunch of four-note chords. I very rarely have just the three-note chord in songs. Um, if you think about something like Winter Heart, that entire song, all those chords are four notes. And so now it's second nature to me, and it's very easy to play four-note chords. Something like sight reading or something like looking at a note and going, this is a B, this is a C, this is a G, this is an E. If I don't think about that while I'm making songs, I'm never thinking, oh, I need a B major right here. That would fit. I never think like that about music. So all of that knowledge just gets dusty and unused, and it just atrophies and then finally goes away. Japanese cheese is subpar. Their toppings confused. Their pizza expensive and wrong. A travesty of errors. When in Japan, eat ramen. Yes, when in Japan, I would not recommend ever eating pizza in Japan. Not only is it very trying to be cool here. Every word that came up sounded mean and offensive. Not only is it different, extremely, but it is also very expensive. So you end up paying a lot on a very small, weird pizza. Like you can't. There is no like Papa John's extra large. There is none of that in Japan. The biggest pizza you're gonna get is like roughly the size of a Little Caesar's Hot and Ready. Like that's as big as you're gonna get, and boy is that thing gonna taste funky, like all kinds of funky. Anywho, don't eat pizza in Japan unless you just want to be curious, like I was. Um, Definitely eat ramen. Um, I would even say get burgers in Japan. Burgers in Japan are fun. They're kind of fun. They do that, interestingly. Fun. A place called Most Burger. It's pretty cool. Anywho, let's we're past the second hour. Let's get into news, guys. I have music out. One of the releases is called Tall Tales. The other one is called House of Omni. House of Omni, and then we have Signals. Signals is like a jazzy EP. After that, we have the Dream series, starting with Nice Dream, Love Dream, Speed Dream, Daydream, Lush Dream, Quick Breath, and Ego Death. Quick Breath and Ego Death are companion EPs that came out towards the end or the latter half of last year, so they're a year old now. Happy birthday, Quick Breath and Ego Death. Listen to those and more on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. On YouTube, I also have a thing called the Quarantine series, which is a series of music videos. Those songs are kind of exclusive to YouTube, so that's the only place you can hear them. There's 8 of them, and they're roughly 2-ish minutes each. You know, pretty short for songs. I did it mostly so that they could just fit on Twitter. It was more of a video first, song second type thing. I ate a Most Burger or 2 in Taiwan. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not too bad. Most Burger's chill. Also, I like the way the employees talked to me while I was in there. I will say, guys, as much as they talk about the like strange racism in Japan, there's some corners of Japan that are like the people are just so genuine. It's like talking to a hug. If you could turn a hug into a city, a town, a person, a society, a community, there are some communities like that in Japan. Particularly in Osaka. When I was in Osaka, it was dope. It was dope. So cool. The people there are so great and cool and very open and very cool and very great and cool and open and fun and open and great and cool and funny also. And I met someone there who I think about every day. I met 2 someones there who I think about every day. Yeah, wow. That sucks, man. There's this outfit. They have they have rice patties instead of buns and serve burgers with sliced beef, and it's pretty decent. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. It's really good. It's really good. You ever I'm gonna end on this as a talking point, since I have already done the music announcement portion. Do you ever travel? Let's say you don't travel, guys. Let's say you don't travel. Maybe you're one of those people, one of those beautiful people that are like, I've never been outside of my hometown, and I never want to be, because that's when they get you. Maybe you're one of those people that you're born in Council Bluffs, Iowa. You want to stay in Council Bluffs, Iowa. You want to have your kids in Council Bluffs, Iowa. You want to die and be buried in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Maybe that's you. Nothing wrong with it. Be in your bubble. Bubbles are great. But even if you're in a bubble, eventually somebody's going to pass through that bubble. Or maybe somebody is going to leave that bubble and you're going to think about them. You're going to think about this person you ran into or this exchange you've had, and you're like, wow, that person, I think about them all the time. And you gotta go like, do they think about me? Did I have the same impact on that person that they had on me? There are there's so many times like that on tour, guys, where it's like I went to a show, maybe met somebody, hung out with a person, maybe we went out to eat as a group or something like that. They said something to me, we danced, we ate, he said something funny, he commented my shoes or something, and it's like I think about that dude all the time. And there smart money says dude doesn't even remember I exist. Like it did, he's got his own stuff going on because it wasn't a special night to him. He wasn't on vacation. It was just another day in Salt Lake City, or it was another day in Montreal. It was another day in London. He doesn't think about Omni. He doesn't think about that weird dude with the gloves and the big glasses that was laughing somewhere in his periphery. But like, think about that a lot. Think about that a lot. When I was in Osaka, there was three people. There was one very obnoxious drunk white man who I don't know where he came from, but he was one of those people that talks just too close. He was just talking way too close to my face. And then there was another man named Rikito, and I love him. Very angry man, very outspoken, very smart. Rikito. He lives in Osaka. He's a teacher. He came out to the show. And then there was this girl whose name was Aoi, and her dad's a piano player, and I remember the three of them so vividly and how the night went. I like invite. Oh man. And I look at their internet posts all the time, and I just think, man, they got a whole life. I'm like thinking about these people. They got a whole life. Where did Rikito go? What do you mean? Have I talked about them in the stream before? Where did he go? He's still there. I think he was part of the Teach for. Anyways, I thought I meant Blue. Oh, Aoi? AOI? I don't know. He used to join the IG streams. Crap, you're right. Liana? Oh my god! Where is Rikita? Rikito I met on tour. I remember showing up in Osaka, and by the time I got to Osaka, guys, I had already been kind of conditioned by the way people behave in Tokyo. I'm not going to get into the depths of it because we're getting to the end of the stream, but I will say that the culture and general social behavior in Tokyo is pretty different from that in Osaka. Tokyo has more of a New York feel. Osaka has more of a Los Angeles feel, where in Tokyo it's more cold and business and fast, big city, and Osaka's more laid back. People are willing to talk to you. People are a little bit more open and accepting. And hey, what's up, Sky? I'm glad to hear that about the baked tofu. Glad to hear it's good. And I remember showing up in Osaka and being blown away by, first of all, how nice everybody was. And then I play the show, and afterwards I give out my stickers, because I had my tour stickers. I give out all my stickers. And in the hall, the drunk man's talking to the side of my face, and I'm talking to Rikito, and Aoi is standing behind Rikito, waiting a very long time to talk to me. Ends up saying like a couple of nice words to me, and then everybody's like, we're going to go out and get dinner. And I was like, yo, Aoi, you want to come with us to get dinner? And she was like, I don't think that it's cool. Aren't just the DJs going? And I was like, nah. I'm one of the DJs, and I say you're allowed to come. I think that's the thing I'm allowed to do. And so I took her and Rikito. We all went out to this restaurant. And then I talked to her about her dad, and I talked to Rikito about the States, because Rikito was from here, but was teaching English in Japan. He's half Japanese. And she was talking about her dad, who was a piano player, and like made city pop when he was like really young. And I was like, that's amazing, blah, blah. Talking, and then after that they were like, you guys want to go do karaoke, which is still the first and last time I ever did karaoke. I agreed to go with them. I left all my gear and keyboards out in the middle of the street because Japan's safe enough where you can do that apparently, and we went and we did Yeah, we did karaoke, and me and Allie did "Crawling" by Linkin Park, which is funny because I'd also mentioned that in the stream. We did "Crawling" by Linkin Park, and I was like, wow, this girl doesn't speak any English, but somehow knows all the words to "Crawling" by Linkin Park. It was very. Yeah. Anyways, it was a cool night. It was a cool night. I'm very glad that I experienced that tour. I think a tour right now in Japan probably wouldn't be the same. But man, I think I fell in love like 5 times over the course of that tour. Uh, with absolute strangers, with like homies I was DJing with. Hype, it's just impossible not to love him. He's like, his face gets all red when he drinks. I mean, which I know it's like a Japanese thing, but it was funnier when he did it. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, you ever think about that sometimes? Sometimes Allie will post on Instagram, and I'll look at the Instagram post, and I'm just like, you have that realization where you're just like, I think about this person a lot more than they think about me. This is really weird. Um, or I'll look at Rakito's stuff, and I'm just like, man, I was like a summer, a fun summer night in 18. A fun summer night in 2018 to Rakito maybe, but to me Rakito is like a big part of like my whole thing. I don't know. It's really weird. When you travel a lot, you like take little pieces of people with you everywhere you go, and if those people are stationary, they're not necessarily holding on to pieces of you. They have their own life and stuff. I wonder if I'm that for anybody. I wonder if anybody passed through and thinks about me and I forgot about them. Anywho, this song is called Hush Hour. I wrote this song while I was in a hotel in Hong Kong. A hotel, by the way, that had amazing breakfast. Still to this day, the best breakfast I ever had was at this hotel. It was like a buffet, and they had noodles and stuff like that. Definitely stuff that wasn't traditional breakfast food. I enjoyed my time in Hong Kong a lot. Didn't make any friends, but was kind of enamored with the architecture. Can never forget Moaning Myrtle. Thank you everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. There was a couple new faces in the stream today, so I appreciate you guys too for making the time and the trip over here for another 2-hour weekday morning stream. Tomorrow is Thursday. I do have a meeting tomorrow in the early afternoon. And to prep for that meeting, I might end the stream a little bit more curtly on the second hour. But then after that, we have the 6-hour production stream. And hopefully we'll see how stable it is now that I have the LAN cable. Let's hope for the best, shall we? I hope everybody does enjoy the rest of their Wednesday today. I will be spending it pretty much shackled to my studio because I have to catch up on a lot of work. Thank you, Sky. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Morning Medley number 229. 229. 229. Remind me to make a tooth hurdy. Remind me to make...